Sabres play the Utah Mammoth tomorrow, part of this 4-game road trip they're on. We'll bring in Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff for our weekly conversation on Tuesdays. We moved it an hour because, of course, out west a little bit. Lindy, good morning. Jeremy and Joe. How is Salt Lake as a hockey visit, as a hockey trip?
I've only been here once, and that was last year. So this is the second opportunity to stay in Salt Lake. The views are beautiful. You got the mountains in the background, and the venue is nice. They've got a new practice facility we're going to practice in today. We'll see what that's like.
Yeah. Out west, these western trips, it's start in Carolina, end in Detroit, but in the midst, Colorado and Utah. You feel like this 4-game trip here, it's the first lengthy road trip of the year, really. You guys started out at home. An opportunity here maybe to kind of get some more time together. It might be a cliche, but maybe it's a cliche because it's how coaches generally feel. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I do feel it's an opportunity. I look at our last game in Carolina as really kind of the start of this trip, and I like the way we played in the first period. I like what we did in the third period. We had a tough second period where we didn't manage the puck well enough. And second periods with the longer change and you get hemmed inside your end cost us dearly. So I like what we did with the lines. I felt we were generating a lot more opportunities in the third period. Second period, we left some really good chances out there late in the period. I think with the players we've had out and shuffling the lines a little bit, I'm excited to see if these lines can stay together and help generate some offense for us.
Yeah, could the trip be good too for some of those guys that are in spots, replacing guys that are out of the lineup? Like instead of just the drive back and forth to Rochester a lot, you're on the trip and you're relied upon right now.
Yeah, for sure. Not relied. We're counting on them, and I think the guys that we have brought out have played well. If you want to look at Rosine and Austin, they've both scored for us. We need secondary scoring to come from a lot of different places, and these are two talented young guys that, if you look at the year Rosine has been having in Rochester, has played extremely well. He was leading the league in scoring when we brought him up. I think Austin, again, was having a great year, and the previous year had played really well. So they get to be part of a bigger road trip. I think you've made a good point. A lot of times they're up and back, or they're living in a hotel at home. Here they get to be part of the group and really feel like they're part of the team.
Do you feel like you've had to shuffle things more than you might want to, just based on the constant in and out from everyone in the lineup? Like, I've got the players that have missed games due to injury or illness. It's Norris, Power, Greenway, Luukkonen, Kesselring, Benson, Zucker, Kulik, Kozak, Danforth, Samuelson, and now Dalene on a leave of absence as well. Like, it's been a tough go, I think, from your standpoint, trying to get anything with consistency.
Yeah, well, that's part of what you have to deal with. We don't want to use that as an excuse. It's the next man's opportunity. We have shuffled a lot of things around, and we'll continue to shuffle. It looks like there's nobody coming back for the next couple games, or possibly the next 3 games. We'll see how that goes. But every team deals with injuries. It really has to be the next man up opportunity. I think we've been really working hard in practice at our offensive zone play to increase offensive zone time, so we spend less time on our own end, and we'll continue to work on that today. But the lines have constantly changed. Our special teams has constantly changed. We're looking for lines that are generating and can help create some offense, and we're looking for some special teams that can help us win hockey games. So pieces are getting put in different places really on a nightly basis.
You mentioned that some of these guys are probably not coming back this trip. Zucker with the illness and Kulik with the blood clot issues. I don't know if you've dealt with something like that before, Lindy, in your career. That feels like one of those things that can just have a total wild, amount of variance in how quickly a guy can come back from that. So is that kind of where you're at with maybe even both guys, different situations? Like it's kind of unknown when the timeline might be?
Yeah, well, I can share that the blood clot was something that was found when they were looking at something else, and I think we're fortunate to have found it. The time frame for him is obviously it's a good period of time, but there's no reason with medication and if things go well that he doesn't return to play, and I don't really want to bring up a time frame for it, but I really expect him back at some point later on in the season. The Zucker one has been a crazy one, just one of those crazy viral sicknesses that one of our coaches had a conversation with him yesterday, and he hasn't had any solid food, I don't think, for 9 days, and has gone through every type of test, and it obviously weight-wise, I think he's down a considerable amount of weight, and when he does start feeling better, it's going to take a real good period of time to get him back and up and running. So two crazy situations that you don't expect that you have to deal with.
Lindy Ruff with us on the Wester Hotline. Dalene stepping away, obviously understandable personal matter that he is stepping away to. So filling in for him, Lindy, it's tough, right? He's one of the best defensemen in the world. How much would you say Owen Power is up to him to fill in to a job like that or to a role where he's kind of the lead guy on a blue line, or do you just kind of treat it where everybody's balancing through it?
Yeah, I think we're asking Owen to be, we're using him or Byram on the power play, but I think Owen is the guy that we're looking to. I thought he had a good game in Carolina. I thought our defensive pair that struggled was the Byram Kesselring pair, and when you take a piece out that's playing, 23, 24 minutes and you add ice time, sometimes that added ice time works out for you. Sometimes it puts a player or two players in a situation that they're not usually accustomed to or playing against top lines. But I know we need more out of that pair that played. But in the absence of Dalene, I think Power is the guy that stepped up inside that game, and we're going to need him to step up inside these next few games coming up.
With Power, Lindy, he's still pretty young, right? I wonder if you have a number of games or age of a career where you feel like a player, I don't know, not stops growing or stops becoming who they are going to be. But do you think of him as still very much developing at this point and with a lot more ceiling to come?
I do. I look at him as a package that has a lot of capabilities. A young man that's strength-wise and speed-wise and just understanding the game has got room to grow into. I think he's taken a big step this year. Part of his game, the physicality down low, has improved. I think the way he jumped into the play the other night, the opportunities that he was in on, he scored the goal, he was in on another opportunity. Getting up and down the ice has improved. So, yeah, I look at a lot of times for defensemen that, third, fourth year is when they kind of settle in and you know who they are and what they can do and how comfortable they are and where you can play them. But, you can't teach size. He's got size. And he's improving in a lot of areas, and I think the capabilities are there to be an elite defenseman.
This being his fifth season, as you say, how long it takes you to settle in. Do you, in your experience, have is it a year and age where you feel like you fully know what someone is capable of?
Oh boy, that is tough one because there's outliers to everything that you believe in. There's some young defensemen and I haven't spent a lot of time looking at them, but the young defenseman that's playing in Long Island right now that can step in at that age.
Yeah, Schaefer's. He's apparently been amazing, right?
It's been amazing. So, he stepped in. He looks awful comfortable at that age. So I think there's different scenarios. I mean, I'll share this. When Phil Housley came to Buffalo, and I looked at him and I thought, holy crap, Phil, you look like you're 12 years old. and he stepped in and played unbelievable. So, I think it's a different scenario for different players, but I think the common is in that 3 or 4 year range. So I mean, that's my opinion.
Right, the outliers. If I go wait, was Brian Campbell one of these where like he didn't maybe even do this until like 26, 27 in his career?
There you go. There's the other side of it. And did he take off once he got to that point? I still remember sharing, stories with Brian, and when he came up, and I hated the way he always kept two hands on his stick, and he was defending the rush. And one day I think I taped a 3 or 4 pound weight to a stick, and I said, "Here, just drag this around." He took off at that point. There's a great example of somebody that took off in years that you would have expected would have happened sooner.
Yeah. Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff ahead of Utah tomorrow night.
The goaltending, Lindy, I think you said this at practice, maybe that Ellis could see a game here. How's it? I don't know. Is his attitude, how has he been kind of not being a part of the rotation, which I'm sure can be tough for a guy, especially someone who's trying to get his NHL career rolling?
I think it's a situation that's not comfortable for anybody. It's not comfortable for myself as a coach. It's not comfortable for the 3 goaltenders. But I will say this, that the 3 guys have handled this very well, and the attitudes have been unbelievable. I think that they all understand they got to step in. When they do step in, they have to play well. And I think Ellis would have had another opportunity if it wasn't for the situation in Toronto because of how well he played in that previous game. So, what I said yesterday, he's going to play on this trip. I think he's earned that right to play on this trip, but his attitude and his work ethic has been tremendous.
Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff. Sabres and Mammoth, part of this road trip, continues tomorrow. Lindy, thanks for the time, and best of luck tomorrow night.
Thanks, gentlemen.